My name is Susanna Stengade. I am Senior Vice President heading our sales and success, hopefully going onwards in continental Europe. I'm the previous founder and also CEO of the entity FTTx International in Denmark and Germany, which was last year sold to the Alcadon group. Today I'm proud to be a member of the group Alcadon. I'm a grand old lady. I've worked 30 years in the fiber optic industry, first working with telecom, but the past 20 years it's been in the FTTx deployment in Europe. I started off actually in the European cable industry, and 20 years ago I started a one-man and a dog or two-man company in Denmark. We had 2 telephones, 2 computers and 1 fax machine, and I'll not lie, it was really tough. Every morning I came into the office, I checked whether the plug to the fax machine was working, thinking, where are the orders? And telephones were pretty quiet, but it came after a while. It's taught me the entrepreneurial mind that we really see in Alcadon. It takes hard work and it takes dedication to run a business, to be with small and mid-sized customers, but certainly also to be in the more project-related, very, very large key account customers. The past many years where I've been part of the FTTx deployment, I've followed the growth in Scandinavia. I've also been a part of that growth, and I have seen the European countries taking on board the FTTx deployment and rollout. And it has been super interesting to follow that. I've thought, what's in it for you listening to me today? What can I bring or tell you where you leave today thinking, that was something that I got with me? And firstly, I hope I can tell you a little bit or enlighten you in the FTTx deployment. What is all the words, FTTH and FTTO and whatever? As Sonny said, everything is FTTx. That's a number of everything. Secondly, I hope I can give you an impression of how huge the potential is, not only in our new markets, in Germany, in Benelux, in UK, but certainly also in the more mature markets in Scandinavia. Thirdly, we have a lot of history. We have learned a lot over the past 20 years in the Scandinavian entities. How are we going to bring our learning from what we have seen, where we have been involved with very large customers, and adapt that into our entities in the south, in Germany, in Benelux, but also in the UK market. And here I wanted to enlighten some. In the telecom world and the FTTx deployment, everything starts with the backbone. The backbone like in a backbone in a body, but also here enlightened by the red stripe. It's actually quite simple. It's a duct. It looks like this. It's a cable that's later blown into the duct system. 2 quite important elements. Of course, there are a few more products to the installation, but this is basic, and this is where all fiber to the home deployment starts. So that could be between central points, between cities, towns, villages, or even here we see that could be a town with a red line, where it would start with the duct and the cable and the backbone. What becomes even more interesting is when the red line turns into the blue line. That would be in the lower right corner, is where it's fiber to the home, FTTH. It would be MDU buildings, so apartment buildings in the middle, which would be a different kind of deployment of fiber. It would be to the left where it's FTTO, so fiber to the office. Or it could even be fiber to the antenna. And here you would also typically deploy the duct and the cable, but going from there into the stadium, you would to boost the signal and the bandwidth needed when a stadium is on and working, you would have a lot of antennas, so FTTA. Mind you, what's really important is that we cover the full product range of everything by Alcadon Group, which is the red and the blue line. The deployment of fiber vary a lot from country to country. In in Scandinavia, we see a more mature market. Not all of the backbone is laid, but that will be done over the next years. We see not all houses and homes being deployed, but we are on our way. When we go to our operations and entities in the south, in Germany, in Benelux, and in UK, it becomes super interesting. We are just hitting a start here, deploying FTTx. We are in a unique situation, being able to draw from our experiences in Scandinavia and not copy that into our neighbor countries, but adapting the situations to the market, listening to the customer and seeing where can we help the customer in a way so that the tailor-made solutions we have out of the Scandinavian offices, those are also used in our neighbor countries. I'll get back to that later. The opportunities are there, certainly not only in our new markets, which over the next many years, and I think maybe over the next 15 to 20 years will become super interesting, but certainly also in the Scandinavian market where we see technologies are changing, products are getting updated because they've been in the ground for 20 years. So that the two things are going to be, both of them, really interesting to follow. As to this slide, I think I have a very small story just to add, because 3 years ago, the world changed. We were all hit by a disease called COVID-19. The reason why I'm telling you this is I think Sweden was quite good about these things, but in most of Europe, people, they were sent into home offices. The parents both had to work from home. The children, they were homeschooled, or in some countries, a long period of time. This was not a problem in the countries where we had fiber to the home and where we had broadband. The children, they could actually start 8 o'clock in the morning, go into Teams, meet their teacher, be homeschooled, and see the other schoolmates. The parents could work in heavy documentation systems. They could answer mails, and they could actually also be in the video and Teams meetings, whereas we also saw gaming in the afternoon from the children. Everything that needs a lot of broadband brought into the house. It was not a problem in most places, I would believe, in Scandinavia, in the Netherlands, where we also have a lot of FTTx deployment. But I personally saw many people in our export markets, they couldn't attend a Teams meeting. We couldn't see them on a video, or the signal fell out. We know that the children, they were not able to be homeschooled. And I tell you this story because I'm not alone thinking it's going to urge the need of rolling out fiber to the home over the next many years in Europe. On the next slide, I'm going to tell you a bit more about FTTx and our product and system offering. And this is very simplified, but let's think it's an operator. Could be IP only, could be Norlys, or some of the UK-based operators. So I'll start by dividing it into what does an operator go through the thoughts of an FTTx deployment, and afterwards I'm actually going to tell you more about where do we plot in as an A to Z offering by Alcadon, our offer, because we understand everything from the projecting until we're up and running. So first it will be the projecting by the customer. That would be projecting an area, city, village, between central points. The sourcing group would take over. They would find out where do we source our products from, which products are the right ones to work with. There can be differences whether you work in rural areas or whether you work in the cities. We have seen that, at least in Denmark. There would be a startup of site by the customer, a deploying of the fiber. There would be set up of pop stations, and pop stations is all the places where you connect the 1,000, the 3,000, or the 5,000 homes in areas. The customer would be connecting, they would be test running, and they would be running their system. Everything which is red is where we come into the picture as Alcadon Group. So first of all, we have the projecting. We sit down, we love to sit down with a group of people who's doing the projecting. We're actually often involved in if a customer would go from projecting, working in cities, towns, to working in rural areas. Which differences are there? What is the focus we need to have? And where can we help them? Very important, where can we help them in their design? We speak to the procurement people. We find the right suppliers to support us with the products. The right quality, extremely important. The FTTx is not here for the next year or two, it's here for the next 20 years. Of course, there is a price element to this because the rollout is going to be enormous. The compatibility between products, there is actually a difference whether a cable comes from A, B, C or Z vendor. And so is it with a lot of the other components that we're using. So the compatibility and then the system warranty. Most of our customers, they expect that there is a very long warranty connected to the system. Services. We're able to offer the logistic solution, but the logistic, usually in addition with that, we would have products that were assembled, produced by us or our production in Denmark. And we would be able to collect everything and make on-site deliveries. We would be there on the startup of the site to tell people how to work with the products. And alongside with this process, we have a rather nice facility in Copenhagen who makes customized products, fitted plug-and-play products or tailor-made products to the customer. Tailor-made meaning that we sit down with some of the largest vendors in the industry. We design the complete product that can make the product as finished as possible when it lands with the technician, high in efficiency, and it lower the cost of the end customer. And it's special for Alcadon. So through the deployment of fiber we have over the years, and we are still asked to go out on site and tell the technicians how to deploy or lay the duct-and-duct solutions, how to optimize and blowing in the fiber optic cables, and of course how to work with our assembly solutions. This is something special they need to be aware of, and it ensures the end customer or the operator that everything is done correctly in the same way every time. And as to the pop stations, we are able to design huge houses with inventory, with products that goes into the pop stations. The operator does not need to buy an empty house and to buy all the products. We are able to design that on behalf of the customer. And then we get to the test after connecting. And here our services are to be out there if the customer wishes, to ensure that the quality of the work that the technicians have done is always okay. And then they can run. Just want to make sure that I have everything set here. All in all, the above parameters, I hope for you, ensures that the deliveries we are making by Alcadon is an A to Z offering. It is not only logistic solutions. It is so much added value, it's understanding our customers. FTTx is a super, super interesting product area, and it is there many years to come.